Ayuboan, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Beyond the Northern Wall, which is a live YouTube talk show with me, your Bundaicho, Kayla Malari. Now, what is Beyond the Northern Wall? Well, what it is it's not really an interactive show. It's more of like a talk show. So you're going to sit with me here every Wednesday at 6 p.m., and we're just going to talk about everything. What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about everything that has to deal with core. So we're going to talk about sets, anime, comic books, video games, the performances we've done, the conventions we've attended. But we're also going to talk about the people. We're going to talk about how we put our rehearsals together, how we put our performances together. We're going to talk about all the different things. Sorry, I'm still learning how to use all of this stuff, so this is all brand new for me. But beyond that, beyond the Northern Wall, we're also going to talk about things that happen on core that you guys don't get to see. So like the behind the scenes stuff. We're going to talk about things that we talk about together, which is our communication. We talk about the Zodiac. We talk about our Myers-Briggs. We talk about our Enneagrams. We talk about personality traits, how we learn. We also talk about the creativity process. We talk about building a company, what it means to be a professional dancer. How do you take your dancing to another level? And that's what this show is about. It's about me getting to talk with you guys about all the things correlated. Now, why is it called Beyond the Northern Wall? Because technically we already went Beyond the Northern Wall with Hanji and Levi and that whole group. Well, we decided to name it Beyond the Northern Wall because beyond the Northern Wall, there was so much that was unexplored. And that's what we're going to do here. All the stuff that's unexplored. But before we get there, we got to have some ground rules. We got to have some foundation. So if you're brand new to core, Ayuboan, welcome. If you don't know what Ayuboan is, it actually means welcome in Sinhala. And that's something I'm learning with Sonali, the other co-founder and one of the current directors for the core dance crew. We're learning Sinhala together. So when I say that, I'm saying welcome to you. So Ayuboan. But like I said, we need some foundation. And what's the best foundation but to know the history of the core dance crew? Now, the history of the core dance crew is convoluted. It's very, very intense. And we've had snippets of it. For those who have been with us all these years, you've seen snippets in our docu-series, in our performances. You've joined our Patreon. Hello to our lovely patrons. You've followed us on Facebook, on social media. But there's never really been an unofficial history of the core, and that's what we're going to do today and for the next couple episodes. I am here as someone who's kind of been on core since the beginning. I'm kidding. Been on core since the beginning. I am here to give you the brief annotated history of the core dance crew. It's a lot. We're not going to get through all of it today because that is way too much. We're going to get through in the next couple episodes. And then beyond that, the Northern Wall, we'll also have special guests come in. I'll have corpsmen and alumni coming in. We'll have our collaborators and our artists come in to do special spots. So I hope to see you guys every week on Wednesdays. Now, hope you all are doing great because we're about to go into the history of the core. And just for anyone who streams anything ever, mad props to you because this is so convoluted and intense. Anyways, all right. It's also very, very hot, and we don't have AC in my house, so pardon the fan. Okay, where does core begin? Where does it all begin? Well, it begins with the people who created it, and it began in a place that had nothing to do with core or anime at all. It began on December 25th, 1987. No, I'm kidding. That was my birthday. It began when I first moved down here from the Bay Area to Southern California, and I met my current soulmate, the other co-founder of the core dance crew, Sonali. How did we meet? Well, we met on a collegiate dance team. So there was a UCI. Okay, hold on. Backtrack. Southern California has this very intense underground, it's just not really known, dance community. It's a hip-hop community where there's a bunch of collegiate teams that stemmed from Filipino cultural clubs and then expanded. And they have their own competitions. So if you've seen America's Best Dance Crew, or if you've seen World of Dance, WOD, all those stemmed from competitions and have filtered in teams from this SoCal dance community. Now, there's a dance community that involves, the East Coast and the Southwest and the Southeast and the North and everything. But this was my first introduction to this world. I came from a studio background. I came from a studio that competed at Showstoppers and did conventions like Co-Dance and stuff. So the people that you see on So You Think You Can Dance, all those judges, all those choreographers, I came from that world. I danced with them and I trained under them. So when I came down here, I think in 2000, I'm gonna assume, I'm terrible with years. I usually need Sonali next to me to tell me how old I am. So I think I came down in 2008. I think. And then I think I auditioned for the UCI dance team in 2009. Now, when we auditioned, it was a mid-year. God, so hot. It was a mid-year audition, which means the year had already started for that team, and then they were having a halfway point re-audition. So people had already, a new class had already been there for half a year, and then they were bringing in more newbies. Sonali had been, sorry, that was my phone. Sonali had been on the team for the first half of the year, and now I met her at mid-year auditions. Matt Groove, Matt G, who is our Irwin Smith, if you know him, and he's an alumni. He's the one who introduced me to this team. It was his alma mater, and he was actually going back to re-audition for it. He brought me along with him. I ended up auditioning. I had no idea what this world was like. So it was all very different. We were in a parking structure at UCI. It was with cement, so great. And I remember watching Sonali dance. And if you've seen her dance, she's so fierce. So good. She's like the sweetest little nugget. She's like, hi, I'm Sonali, I'm sweet and I'm rainbows. And then she dances and she's like, I am Sonali, I'm sweet and I have rainbows and I'm fierce. This is literally what happened. She went all out. And I remember watching, and during the freestyle, she slammed into the splits and then popped right back up and started dancing. And mind you, at this point in time, I had been dancing professionally for about 18 years. And I remember looking around going, oh my gosh, that's what we have to do to get on this team? I was so impressed with her. She was so amazing. And just so cute and sweet. And she's so friendly. She's not necessarily an extrovert, but I personally think she is an ambivert. Because she's very outwardly friendly to people. She has this charm that people take to. I'm not. I'm very much an introvert. I have been accused many of times that I give off a very standoffish vibe, and I don't mean to. I just don't really talk. It used to stem from shyness. Now I just I will admit, if you meet me, I'm not really nice initially. I promise I'm really nice, but I don't come off like that. Very Slytherin. So I met her at that audition, and she, of course, made the team again, and I didn't necessarily make the team. I made probation. Now, what is probation? Probation means you're kind of not on the team, you're on the roster, but you still have to essentially prove yourself to be on the actual roster. Now, here's the thing. I was on probation. I've been dancing professionally for 18 years. I had won national competitions. I had danced solo and with my studio. We had traveled all over, the world. I won so many conventions and scholarships for dance. I actually was going to leave a couple weeks after that audition to go fulfill a scholarship out in New York for the Broadway Dance Center. And I got probation. And when I found I got probation for the team, you guys, I was ecstatic. I was so excited. Because guess what? They didn't know who I was, and of course they're not going to know who I was. Who cares what I had done before? Who cares what I had accomplished beforehand? These people who had no idea who I was, for a hip-hop team that I'd never seen before and I auditioned for the first time, they let me be on probation and let me stay and prove myself. They didn't have to, and I was so excited to make this team. So excited. Hence my whole collegiate UCI world of everything. Me and Sonali became soulmates on this team. That's where that whole soulmate aspect came in. We had other people. I know Bevy is part of the soulmates. There's actually 4 of us. And another friend of ours, Jeannie. But for me, Sonali was always the first. And kind of for me, she was the only. it meant something. It meant we were more than best friends. Like, it was destiny that we were supposed to meet. And when I tell you it's destiny that we were supposed to meet, it really was. Everything that would come out of this friendship would be absolutely amazing. Fast forward a couple years, and we're growing. We choreographed for the first time on this team, and I'm not going to say that choreography was the best we'd ever created, but it was the start. It was the start of something, and it was relatively easy to choreograph together. We'd never done it. We danced together, but never choreographed together. And the first time we did, we were like, oh, this is kind of like something. Then we started to branch out. So there's the collegiate teams in the Southern SoCal dance community. She's sweating. And then there's also projects or side teams. So people tend to like branch off and they, want to flex their creative muscles, so they make these side teams. Well, I made one with Matt and with our other friend Paul called Reality Check. And Sonali made one with another one of our friends, Nigel, called The Prototypes. Now those names come up a lot in core. Reality Check and Prototypes, because those were our first like endeavors beyond just being dancers. That was really us being in charge. And we were on each other's team. Sonali was on Reality Check and I was on Prototypes. Reality Check. This is when, so if you see Corsman do this, it's because they were on Reality Check. And if you see Corsman do this, it's because they were on Prototypes. What's awesome is that there's still Prototypes and Checkmates on core right now, which just goes to show like how long those relationships and friendships last. It's kind of awesome. Anyways, so we built those teams and we danced together for a while, and then she became an assistant artistic for the junior team of our collegiate team, and I became an assistant artistic for the collegiate team, and we got to flex our muscles there. But we were both assistants to the guys in charge, literally the guys in charge. Then in 2013, me and Sonali looked at each other and thought, I think it's time we create our own project. This is a thing, you guys. Back in our day, I say that, back in our day, girls didn't run projects by themselves. Most of the time, it was, if there were women in charge, it was usually a woman with a guy, or a woman assisting and not being the head honcho. This was probably one of the rare times where a project at maxed out in like November time. Maxed out was usually when projects, the one-off performances, the one-off teams would debut, and that's when you'd see it for the first time. So we decided we're going to make our own project, and we're going to bring in our friends and our dancers, and we're going to try. We're going to try real hard, soulmate. And at the time, it was called the Kayla #Sonali Project, because we're old, and this was at the cusp of technology, and hashtags were just starting to be a thing. And to me, that was the pound sign on the phone. So I thought it was pound, and then people were like, they're hashtags. And I was like, what's a hashtag? And they're like, I don't know, what's a hashtag with you? I don't know. So we put it Kayla #Sonali Project. Then we started to invite our friends in, friends from Reality Check, friends from our collegiate team, friends from Prototypes, people that we had danced with and we knew. And as we started to create our very first performance, we were like, we need a better name. We need. Technically, our name was supposed to be the choreographers because we were just a project, but every project had an actual title name for the team. So I remember being in my apartment out in Anaheim, and me and Sonali were filling out the paperwork, and we're like, okay, what name do we have? And Matt came in, and Matt had just gotten us into Attack on Titan. Now, me and Sonali have been nerds from the get-go. That's part of why we're soulmates. We're nerds. A lot of times, side note, people think we don't watch the anime or read the comics or watch the shows or play the video games that we personify. No, we are Tumblr certified, y'all. So me and Sonali, Matt had gotten us into Attack on Titan. Obsessed with Attack on Titan. Like, when I say obsessed, we were obsessed with Attack on Titan. So Matt said, why don't you just call yourselves the Survey Corps? And we looked at each other and went, oh, yes. So we called ourselves the Survey Corps, even though our set had nothing to do with the Survey Corps. The only thing that our set had to do with being the Survey Corps was that we based our costume off of the color scheme. So we made our costume dark hunter green, navy blue with accents of white for like the logo. And then we were like, let's add gold because we don't want brown. Like, brown is not a flattering color on brown people. It just looks like skin. Side note for fashion advice, don't wear things that look like your skin. It's just weird. So we had the color scheme of the Survey Corps, and then we were starting to put together the set. One of the things that really set us apart when we went there was that we decided to do Zero to Hero, which has followed us within the community forever. We really wanted to do Zero to Hero as our closer, so we're like, let's do it. We love Disney, we're nerds, let's just do it. And I was working at Disney at the time, so I pulled in some of my Disney friends that I danced with at the parks. And we went to Maxed Out, and we're like, this is just us showcasing. We're not really expecting much because when you perform, okay, so there's like in the project division of Maxed Out, I'd say there's about 12 to 13, it's gotten bigger over the time, but 12 to 13 entries, there's only a first, second, and third place. And honestly, most of the people that place have been there and have been competing for a couple of years with their same projects and have kind of established themselves. So we were like, this is our first time showing up. Yeah, we've done other teams and whatnot, but this is the first time we've shown up, and we're girls. We were just like, we just are so excited to perform. So we got on stage and we performed, and it was so much fun. I looked back and I watched that performance, and there are like little things, of course, that happened, but it was a lot of fun, especially because we opened with a Bollywood song, and as Soulmate, who is the only Sri Lankan for miles around, like she is the representation of Indian and Sri Lankan heritage and culture to me, because you don't see that in the dance community down here in SoCal, and you don't really see that in cosplay. I love that so many people go up to me and are like, oh my gosh, like you look like me, and it makes me smile because I'm like, isn't she a great representation for that whole demographic? So we opened that set with a nice little mini Bollywood number. And of course, she was just raised in the center, and we were like, I love it. And then we ended it with Zero to Hero. And then after that performance, like, of course, afterwards, we gathered with the team, and we were so excited. And then the team got us presents, and they got us Survey Corps cloaks, which we cried. And we were like, oh my God, we have nerdy cloaks. Like, they got us the Survey Corps cloak. And there's pictures of us just crying outside because they had done a project for us. They gave us their time and their energy and all those rehearsals, and they performed on the stage for us. So now it's time for the award ceremonies. And we go on stage, and me and Sonali are in the back of the stage, because it's just the choreographers to go on for that. There was different award ceremonies for that one. We were in the way back, because we're like, nothing's going to happen. And also, we were legitimately talking about something not related to what was happening at the time, as is on brand for both of us. I'm pretty sure we were looking at someone's backpack, and they had something nerdy on their backpack in front of us, and we're like, oh my God, they have like this anime thing. We're just being nerds. So when they called second place Kayla and Sonali's project, it took us a second. We were like, that's our names. Floored. Not expecting it. The team earned that. We didn't earn that. They earned that. They did our choreography to a T, and oh my gosh, it was beautiful. Like, we were so excited, and we're like on cloud nine and everything. And then the rehearsal after that, we were just so excited, and technically that was supposed to be it. It was a one-off project. We didn't really see it going anywhere, but we had just placed second for our first time coming out the gate. That kind of does something for your confidence. You're like, oh, boost. And it felt great. So then, of course, that was in December. So then the holidays happen, and we're all just doing the holiday thing. And then another competition comes around the corner, and it's UB, Ultimate Brawl, which is in the spring. And me and Sonali weren't really thinking of doing another performance, but we thought maybe we'll do one more. And maybe if we're going to do one more, we're going to do our namesake some justice. We're called the Survey Corps. Let's do something for the Survey Corps. So I remember walking through Disney. I'm going to work through Cars Land. And because I do this to this day, and she does it to me to this day, I'm just like, I got to call her sporadically. And you just call, and she'll pick up. She knows I pick up. And we don't even have to say hello. We just start talking, and immediately we know we're on the same wavelength. I dial her, and I call her up, and she goes, hey, soulmate. She answers every call. It's so cute. Hey, soulmate. And I go, what if we just have like a wall? We build a huge wall, And then a giant Titan, like, peeks over, and we, like, do it on the stage. And she said something to me after that will forever be the best response, and has been my favorite response for her every time we've decided to go into something new and exciting and kind of scary because we've never done it before. She said with so much sincerity, yes. So we did that. I had my house at the time in Fullerton, belovedly called HQ, and we built the wall in HQ. We have our prop master right now, Josh. I call him Yosh. Our Watanuki, he's our prop master. Back in the day, we did not have prop master. We had me and we had Sonali. And I remember building the wall. That was like kind of my charge. I had to go out and get so much fabric to build this wall. I got like PVC pipe. This is all out of our own money too. Like, this is just literally for the love of the art and the nerd in our heart. We go out and we build this wall, and it takes days to paint and build. And I did theater in high school, so I know stagecraft, but like, this wall was ginormous, and it also had to be portable. It's not like a flat that you could just build and set up. So like, we're trying to think of these mechanics, and I didn't go to school for mechanics. And so we're building this PVC pipe, and like, you have to put sand in the bottom so it's weighted so it doesn't fall over. And then Soulmate was creating the Colossal Titan. She also painted that Colossal Titan, and it was amazing. It's one of my favorite first things that she ever created. It was so good. And then we had to go to the team for it, and we're like, we went to the team and we said, okay, and this is what we say to the team to this day: come with us on this journey. And now current corpsmen know, when that's being said, it's about to go down. It's about to go down. We said we're going to do Attack on Titan set. We're going to do in 6 minutes, because that's how long an exhibition was. This isn't competing. This is just a showcase. It's a 6-minute long set. We're going to do everything we can to contain all of season 1 of Attack on Titan in a set. And the team was like, let's go. So we went. But we knew we couldn't do it halfway. This was the part where we're like, we're about to do an anime, technically cosplay set, in a not cosplay scenario or venue. So we either go full out with feeling or none at all. So we decided to go full out with feeling. Now, I had only cosplayed once before. I've gone full out for Halloween before, and of course, as a dancer in my studio, we did crazy things all the time, but I only cosplayed once, and it was when I was on the collegiate team, way back in like Zumzia. I don't know what year we went. Maybe it was 2010. And we actually performed at Anime Expo. We didn't. It was my first AX, and I didn't even set foot on the convention center grounds. We performed at an after party in a hotel, but we didn't even get to the after party until the moment when we had to perform. But we did have to make individual cosplays, and the first cosplay I ever made, like myself, was Yuna from Final Fantasy X2, and I was so excited for her, and it was Jankorama, because girl didn't know how to sew back in the day, so she was like, glue, and I'm going to attempt to sew, and then sewing is really hard by hand when it's that much, so I was like, and I tried, and it was fun. But we had never tried cosplay before, but we're about to do it for this Attack on Titan set. So we're like, okay, we're going to do our research. So we looked up where to get the jackets, because again, we didn't sew yet. And I was like, what do we do with these jackets? So we went and we found where to buy these jackets, and then we had our cloaks, and we're like, what if that was our team jacket? Our team jacket is just green cloaks. And for that first performance, for that first year of the Survey Corps, we had a team jacket, which was the Survey Corps cloak, which I thought was just so nerdy and amazing. Some people were like concerned. They were like, oh, if that's our team jacket, we're not really going to wear it in public. And me and Sana were like, you're not going to wear your cloak in public? Like, I wore that cloak like it was a regular jacket. It was not a cosplay item. I wore that a number of times, like Disney, when it was too cold at night. Anyways, so we were doing that, and then we went out to like Fashion District to look for the white pants that we were gonna, paint the harnesses on, and then we had to think about not just the choreography and the content of the set and what songs will accurately portray the sections of the season that we wanted to perform, but we had to cast our Attack on Titan set. You guys. Okay, so first it was me and Sonali. We had to figure out who our characters were. And for me, my favorite character forever will be Hanji. Hanji was immediately my favorite when I started watching. Mikasa was my favorite because she was like the first one on the screen when I watched the anime. And then when Hanji showed up with Levi and I was like, oh, that one right there. And what's cool about Hanji is at that time in the anime, in the English dub, sub, whatever version, they referred to Hanji with female pronouns. It wasn't until I delved into the manga and it started to become more common knowledge that Hanji was non-binary. And Hanji was actually my gateway to understanding non-binary people. And I really loved that about the Hanjo. Hanji was so cool because the whole point of the non-binary was the author was saying what didn't matter what their gender was because the descriptive part of Hanji is that they're the scientist of the Survey Corps. They're absolutely insane. They're a mad scientist. And I was like, oh yeah. And a lot of times when you're developing a character, their gender is part of how you develop them. Because with gender comes these preconceived notions. And there was no preconceived notion to Hanji other than Hanji is a mad scientist. And absolutely bat crap crazy. Awesome. Hanji's mine. I take to the Hanjo with so much love. So, recasted me as Hanji. Then it was Soulmate. Well, Soulmate was sweet, kind of an undisclosed powerhouse. Like, she came off so kind and welcoming, and then you get her on the stage and she kind of scares you because she's really full out and really good. She's like a badass. And she likes to eat. So Sasha. She loved Sasha. Also, in the manga, if you know, Sasha pulls out the archery, and Soulmate has always loved characters with archery. Not to say that like she does it necessarily, but she's always taken to characters with archery. Sailor Mars is her favorite Sailor Scout because of the whole archery aspect. So, I am the Hanjo. Soulmate is the Sasha Browse. And so now we have to cast the rest of everyone else. First one we had to cast was Eren Yeager. There was no option for Eren Yeager. There was none. There was only Eren Yeager. And Adam was Eren Yeager. And he'll say it so many different times. He'll be like, I was so surprised that they asked me. That's not what he sounds like. That is how I interpret Adam hearing this for the first time. I'm so surprised that they asked me to be Eren Yeager because I didn't really feel like a main character at the time. And me and Soulmate were like, it's not even us casting you. The whole team knows. Like when we said we were going to do Attack on Titan and we said we had to start casting people, everyone on the team was like, oh yeah, Adam's going to be Eren. There's literally no one else that can be Eren Yeager. Which is so true. He is Eren. And what I love is kind of like, despite the experimenting type, that relationship of Hanji and Eren was kind of like me with Adam. He was like my little protege son person. I don't know. So he was Eren. No doubt about it. Everything about him, from his dance style to even his ability to be a main protagonist and be the main character to carry the set, he had it all. He doesn't believe he had it all, but he did. Then, of course, we have to think of the rest of the Golden Trio. So then you have Mikasa. Well, Jenna is the buffest person I will ever know. Strong, okay, so Mikasa is so strong and it's like surprising. That is literally Jenna. Not to say that her personality is like Mikasa's, and not to say that it's not. If Jenna had a dark side, it would be Mikasa. And Mikasa's not a villain character. So it just goes to show that Jenna's dark side is just righteous strength. But she was literally Mikasa. So we're like, cool. We got our Jaeger. We got our Mikasa. Now we need the little nerd. We need the little nerd to go around who will just be like, I'm a nerd. But also, like, Armin was being bullied in episode 1 and then, like, still talking crap to the bullies. Like, you're like, Armin, you're losing, bruh. And you still be like, yeah, you better run away from me. You're dumb. Which is why I loved Armin. So, like, who's a nerd that has so much sass and power and can still hold it down? Has that vulnerability, but can also be someone who would join the Corps. So, Liz. It helped that she had the same haircut at the time as Armin, but nerd of the core, Liz. This is kind of coincide. So now we have the golden trio. Then we started to just like give characters out. We gave characters very specifically for our entire lives. For our entire lives on core. Me and Soulmate have never casted blindly. Every casting has been so particular and so absolute to the point where, okay, we're about to get nerdy right now. I gotta adjust. I gotta adjust my seating. When Eren, at the Battle of Trust in Attack on Titan, when the Titans attack and they infiltrate the second wall, Eren doesn't go out with the 104th Squadron that we know today. He wasn't going out with like John Kirstein or anything. He was out with like Thomas and Mina and Marco. Like these were people in his squadron that like, I mean, granted they died, but those were the people that he went out with. So we had to cast those people specifically. So we had a Mina and a Thomas and a Marco. Ow, God bless America. I just hit my knee. But that was in addition to the other main characters. Like, we had to do the main characters of, he either goes by Mike or Mike. Mike and Inaba, veterans of the Corps. They were just as important as Thomas and Mina and everything. And side note, for the veterans of the Corps, it was NJ as Nanaba. I still call her that to this day. And Eddie as Mike. And that one was very serendipitous because, for me being Hanji, the veterans had this history, this longevity about them. And with Eddie and NJ, me and Sonali had danced with them for forever, it felt like at that point. They were staples to us on stage. Like, to me, it just made sense that I would be dancing on a stage with Eddie and NJ. They just were always there, and there was this camaraderie and this comfort level of dancing next to them. So, of course, they would have to be the vets, because that's the whole point. They have this camaraderie and this understanding that makes them so strong as a unit. So there was that. And then, of course, we casted everyone. And then, the most famous casting of all. The most famous casting of all is Levi. We didn't have a Levi out the gate. Not like we had an Eren out the gate. Not like we had a Hanji or a Sasha out the gate. We did not have a Levi out the gate. I personally had no one in my head who was going to be Levi. Because I loved Levi. He's a Capricorn. I'm a Capricorn. Levi is my spirit animal. Just the goat. Kind of. So we're thinking of all these things, and this is how I remember it. I don't know how other people remember it, but this is my memory, and it's kind of pretty good. So we're gonna go with it. In my memory, I remember being in a rehearsal at our old studio, Elevation, out in Long Beach. And Eddie was the one who said that Rostin should be Levi. And I remember Thomas, like, seconding it. And I got a burp. Ugh. To me, that was the first time someone said Rostin. And I was like, wait, why Rostin? Not that I was against it, I just didn't know why. And Eddie was saying it, he was like, well, because he's so quiet and he's so like nondescript, but he's such a hardcore dancer. He's so good at what he does. He's so talented. He's also like the pretty boy. He's everyone loves. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what? Me and Somi thought, yeah, actually he really is Levi. Now, this is a little history. I'm going to tell you about the first time I met Rostin. Moves mic closer because it's about to be funny. I met Rostin on prototypes years before. I was coming in late to a rehearsal. I was coming from Disney, and so when I walked into the rehearsal, Sonali and Nigel said, okay, we're just doing a run through. Just go ahead and sit in the front, and then we'll plug you in afterwards. And I was like, cool. And as I was watching the rehearsal, I remember looking at the back of the room, and there's these like tall windows with big long curtains on them, and there's a guy playing with the curtains like the evil queen from Disneyland. The evil queen at the Snow White ride, just standing there doing this. And then draping the thing around him like a queen. And I remember watching that and being really confused because I didn't know if he was supposed to be there. he wasn't quite rehearsing with everyone. And I didn't know if he was part of the rehearsal and he was supposed to be there, or like he was just someone who was like a friend of someone and wandered in and was just kind of, and people were just like, he's just playing around, it's fine. And then later on I found out, he's supposed to be on the team. His name's Rostin, and he was like really good friends with Rio. And by the way, the Rostin Rio friendship is probably my favorite thing to watch for all of time. And that's how we became friends, was on Prototypes. And then that was my bad, I forgot to invite him to the very first iteration of Core at Maxed Out. And I remember he came to our preview night for the Maxed Out performance, and I remember getting mad at him and going, why aren't you dancing with us on stage? And he was like, you never invited me. And I remember going, oh crap, I was supposed to invite you. So then I invited him for Attack on Titan, and he got to be Levi. So now we have the cast. And of course, Matt was our Irwin, because Matt was the one who gave us the Survey Corps name in the first place. He was the origin of our love for Attack on Titan. He was Irwin Smith. So now we have the cast. Now we have the props. Side note with the props, Sonali did a whacking piece with the swords, and some comments go, why are the swords so short? Well, ma'am, do I have a... Okay, if you were about to do a whack... Okay, hold up. This is, I'm gonna defunct some things right now. The Attack on Titan swords are long, and there's two of them. They're essentially like this. This is my cane from when I injure myself. This is like a good length for Attack on Titan sword. Now imagine dancing with two of these. Trying to whack. I'm gonna break something. People are like, why didn't you do the whacking piece with swords that were true to the actual length? Because then we would die. That's why. Because we didn't want to kill ourselves. We wanted to survive, to do this another day. So we found shorter swords, and we did our best. And we did that. And she did a whacking piece with the swords, and it was awesome. So we put the set together. And then we rehearsed, and that rehearsal process was insane, but so much fun. And then we went to UB. And at UB, I remember going out to tech, and people didn't quite know what was going on. All of our friends in the community came up to us after our tech, and they're like, are you guys really doing an Attack on Titan set? And me and Soulmate are like, yeah. So, like, already it's so out there because reasons. And they called her Mookie. God love you, Mookie. Mookie is the announcer of the community. And I remember running out there, and we set up the wall. And of course we're setting up the wall for a performance, and people are screaming in the audience. This is an aggressive wall. It doesn't look good. Let me tell you, the wall doesn't look that great. I tried my best. The face of Walmaria, that is all thanks to NJ making that face look like a face. Because before that, it didn't look like anything. And I was like, I'll make bricks, but you can't make all the bricks. It doesn't, it's a black wall. Why is it black wall? I don't know. There's a lot of things going on the wall. The wall doesn't look great, but it serves its purpose. It's large and obtrusive and there. And we get on stage, and there's 4 of us kneeling on stage. The rest of the team is waiting in the wings. We're about to do our performance. And I remember kneeling down, wearing my cloak, and I'm kneeling there, and Sonala's kneeling there, and Mookie's announcing us, and people are screaming, are going insane in the audience, because most of them know what's gonna, like, they know this is Attack on Titan. The other people are like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And that adrenaline, that hype happened. And I remember turning to Sonali, and because of this moment, I do this every chance I get when we do a performance. I search for her at the beginning performance, just like I did at this beginning. And I like subtly look to her, and we have our hoods up, and I look to her, and she looks to me, and she's not near me, mind you. She's like on the other side of center, and we're pretty far apart. And I remember looking at her and yelling, "Soulmate, I love you!" And she responds, "I love you too!" And then we begin the dance. It's like, if there's ever a ritual to begin a set, it's that. And so then the song starts, and we start doing the dance, and everything is amazing. people are screaming because it's so insane. What are we doing? It's so ridiculous, but it makes so much sense. And then the colossal titan makes its appearance, and people are losing their minds, and we're losing our minds because like it looks so good. And then we go on every piece. A couple notes: if you go back and look up the Survey Corps at Ultimate Brawl 2014, and you'll see Adam saves Rostin's life. In one of the piece, Erwin has to do a jump over them, and Rostin doesn't start to duck at the right time. Right time. So Adam yanks him down, saves Rostin's life, and like Matt's boot just barely grazes over his face. And Koki's gonna hate me if you watch Koki, our Connie, our Sprinkles, I love him. Koki is our Connie, and mind you, we recruited Koki. We didn't know him beforehand. He came to a rehearsal with a friend who was already on Core. And then he came just to watch, and we forced him to freestyle. And he was so good at freestyling that we were like, we want one. So we recruited Koki, and he became our Connie. And he does the whacking piece. But there's a part in the whacking piece where he has a speaker in his way, and it just is not... It's not good. It's great. We still lovingly make fun of him for that to this day. But we do the whole set. There's also a Titan, and this will be released later on. We have a whole series on the Core's YouTube channel. Subscribe, like that plug. Series called I Was Reincarnated as a Throwback, and we've been bringing back old videos. One of the old videos we will be bringing back is from this performance. It's called the Titan View. We had a mini, I don't know where Sarah is anymore. We had a pop, I know there are two Sarahs because Sarah needed a stunt double. We had a Funko Pop of a Colossal Titan, and we named him Sarah, Cera, like Michael's Sarah. Sarah. There's a whole story behind Sarah, and I'll go into it another time. But Sarah was our little mascot at the time. And so there was a hole in the wall. There was a hole in the wall. There's a hole in the wall. Okay, never mind. But there was a hole in the wall, and I didn't know he did this, but Thomas was back there. He was one of our alumni. Not the character Thomas, the human Thomas. He was back there, and he filmed what it was like on stage through this little hole in the wall. So it's called Titan View. So we have the Titan View that'll be released later. So we performed the set at UB, and it is everything we wanted it to be. It happened, everything happened the way it was supposed to, and it was the moment when me and Soulmate were like, oh my gosh, I think we found our niche. And that kind of was the start of us delving into this whole, maybe we're kind of getting the hang of doing anime on stage. So that was in the spring. Leading into the summer, I was working at Disney, and I was preparing for Mad Tea Party. And at a rehearsal, I remember going to an overnight rehearsal at Disney and opening my email, and NJ, our Nanaba at the time, was like, hey, I have a friend who works at Anime Expo, and I showed them our video, and I'm going to try to see if I can get us to perform. So our very first connection to Anime Expo was Nanaba, was NJ. And she was able to get us that performance. I remember seeing that email from her, that message, and she was like, I got us to perform. We're going to connect us. They want to have us perform for the Masquerade halftime at Anime Expo 2014. Ecstatic. So amazed. But here's the thing. They wanted us to take a 6-minute set into a 30-minute set. Okay, so we didn't think we were going to do another performance. And then now we were going to do a 30-minute performance at an actual anime convention. And the biggest Northern California, the biggest Northern America anime convention in the country. We were going to perform at Anime Expo's halftime. So we went to work. You guys, we went to work. I remember... from that rehearsal process, I remember putting together the Villager set, And the villagers performance was the piece that opened, and we're wearing villager wear, and we're actually wearing our uniforms under our villager wear. We tried doing a run through where we were just in villager wear, and then we would change into our uniforms. And during that run through, everyone came out onto the floor naked because no one made that costume change. So we said, okay, that's gonna have to change. But along with building a 30-minute performance, so trying to figure out how we're going to film those 30 minutes, I decided to make a video that would play right before the performance. Now, my whole life, I've always made videos. Back in the day, and there's so much evidence of it, documenting things on film was one of my favorite things to do. My friends, when I was in middle school and high school, they got together and they bought me a handy cam. And in my studio, it was just natural that I would set my camera up. My teacher knew I would set my camera up at the front of the studio during every rehearsal, and I'd film B-roll, and I'd make these essential home videos, and I would document everything. And so that's what I was doing with Corps as well. And I said, let's make a video that shows us as Survey Corps. So that will be released later on too, our very first video of us as the Survey Corps. And it was us meeting up in our cosplays and like trying to be our characters and kind of doing dumb things. One of my favorite stories is a dual story. It is when we were at the studio Elevation and we were going to film some stuff before rehearsal in cosplay. And so one of the things we're going to film is there was a wall that was about 6 feet tall, and we wanted to be on top of this wall filming stuff. And in this video, you see like Hidalgo's up there as Jean Kirstein, and Sonali's up there as Sasha and whatnot. So Sonali goes up on the wall. I go up on the wall because I'm the cameraman. And I will tell you, me and Sonali don't do well with heights. We both are scared of heights. And we went on this wall. It's not good. To get onto the wall, there was like a pole. So let me see if I can. I'm going to use Kat's gift to us. Do you see all this? Do you see this great thing? Look at this. Wow! This is amazing. This is Queen Kitsune cosplay. I see you in the chat there. This is from her to Core. This is going to be the wall. So we had to get on this wall. And there's a pole like this right here. So if this is the wall, let's see if I need to make sure that I can see this. So if this is the wall, this is the pole that we get here, and Elsa is going to be me and Sonali. So you have to get on the pole. Isn't she pretty? She sits with me. She is my spirit animal. You have to get on the pole, you get on the wall. And we're up here. Now Eddie has shown up, and now we need to film Eddie's stuff. So while he's in the parking lot, this whole area is the parking lot. While he's in the parking lot getting ready, we're getting down from the wall. There was only one witness to what happened to me and Sonali on the wall, and it was Shishi. And he tried so hard to save us, and he didn't make it. I was recalling this story in the car the other day, and I cried because I was laughing so hard. Sonali starts to come down off the wall, but for some reason she goes down this way. So her arms and legs are just like straight up, and she has nothing to catch her. What's going to catch her is her butt is going to catch her. It is not, you guys, it is not a short fall. It is a long fall down to the cement. So I'm standing there watching her. Granted, we're both telling each other, be careful, be careful. I'm standing there and I reach for her. Because I'm like, I gotta help her. So I grab her and I try to yank her back up. And I use my body leverage to yank her back up. Here's the thing. When you use your body leverage and you don't have any footing, that means I'm pulling her this way. So I have to counter and I have to go that way. Which means now I just threw myself off the wall. I didn't even save her. I didn't even give her enough leverage so that she could get her footing back on the wall. I just delayed her inevitable death. So now she's falling and I am falling. I also have I had bought a real prop Attack on Titan sword, and I have it slinged around my body. It's across my body. But it's not like this, and it's not like this behind me. It's not in an angle. It is ready to impale me like this. So I'm falling face down, knowing that if I land, this thing's gonna go through me. She's falling with both her arms in the air. We're screaming and laughing, and then we died. And I am so amazed that we didn't injure ourselves. She literally pulls a Dane Cook and goes, oh, it happened so slow and yet so fast. And I just remember we were laughing so hard and crying because the fear was absolute. So that was the first thing that happened. The second thing that happened, which I'm going to have the video saved on my phone. That incident wasn't recorded. This one was. And I'm so glad it was because it brings me joy to this day. Eddie's going to hate me for this story. So there was across the street from our studio, there was a Best Buy. I don't know. There's a Best Buy. At this Best Buy, there is a brick wall with a bright orangey yellow light shining up on the wall. And it makes a really cool effect. So I'm filming and I'm like, okay, it was Hidalgs, Shishi, Soulmate, and Eddie. And I was like, okay, so you guys are going to run and pretend like you're being chased. Ooh, look around. And then I'm like, then you're going to stand and you're going to salute. And so we're doing all these filming stuff across the street from the studio. Dusk is upon us. And Eddie, there's a pipe, it's a fat pipe, but it's held on with faith, trust, and pixie dust. There's nothing holding this thing in place, except it's connected to the wall by very little, and then there's like no extra foundation to it, so it's just hanging on a prayer. And Eddie sees this, and he's like, I want to get on it, and then I want to jump off like I'm 3DM gearing it, and we're gonna film it. I said, okay. He found the sweet spot getting onto this pipe because, like, granted, if I had stepped on this pipe, I'm pretty sure it would have broken right away just because it was hovering out of nowhere. But he gets in the sweet spot and he prepares to, I'm going to find this video for you guys. He prepares to jump off. What happens in this video is that when he pushes down to go up, the pipe breaks. And here it is. The pipe breaks and he doesn't go anywhere. So I'm going to show you guys this video. It's great. Ready? So that happens. The pipe breaks. He doesn't go anywhere. He falls. And you hear that silence. You hear Sonali go, wow! And then you kind of hear Hidalgo. And then the camera shakes. And there's kind of a lot of silence. It's because I was laughing so hard that there was no sound. I just peed. I immediately peed. Because it was so funny. And I'm like, so now I'm like, try not to pee. I'm trying to hold the thing's still recording. And it is so funny that I had to run away from it because there's no words I could say. So I remember running back across the street, holding I didn't have my camera at the time. I don't know why I didn't have my camera. I had my iPad at the time, so I'm holding my iPad, still recording, silently in pain because I'm laughing, holding in pee that has already escaped, and I'm just like, and I land on the ground, and we laugh for so long. And God love you, Eddie. That is one of my favorite stories. I remember showing Jenna in the studio when everyone showed up for rehearsal. I showed Jenna the video on my iPad, and she played that thing in succession about 27 times because it brought her as much joy the 27th time as it did the first time. And then what we did is during that rehearsal, I went back. I ran back across the street. I picked that pipe piece up. It's like a little elbow pipe. It's not light. It's very heavy. I picked that thing back up, and 6 months later for Christmas, when we had a core Christmas and we were exchanging gifts, I got Eddie as my secret Santa, and I gave him that pipe for Christmas. That was his Christmas gift from me. And he used it, and he turned it into a planter. So that's nice little, cohesion, full circle. So anyways, we made this video, and then we go to Anime Expo. This is my first Anime Expo ever. The one that I did on the collegiate team didn't count because I didn't actually attend. I get to go into Anime Expo. I was never able to get a badge for this, so this was crazy that we got badges to come in and perform. Like, it's the dream, you guys. I didn't expect this to happen at all. No one expects this to happen. No one thinks we're good enough for something this amazing to happen, and it did. And my first day at Anime Expo was to drop off was the day of the performance. And I remember sitting there in the lobby of South Hall with way too many props. These are large. This is the Wall Maria and the Colossal Titan and all of our swords and all of our costumes and all of our little props in between. And they're just with us, and I'm just sitting there guarding it because they didn't know where to put it yet. So I can't even go out and enjoy the con because I'm like, someone's gonna take Wall Maria. Like, someone was really gonna come and like, that's gonna complete my cosplay. I'm just gonna haul this whole thing with me. So, and then we went into tech. And what's awesome is that at Tech, we met Caleb Diaz and Chemical X. Chemical X was the other cosplay crew, where a bunch of our current corpsmen and core alumni were on there. I'm pretty sure Treen Bean was on Chemical X, and Steve was on Chemical X. It was so great. And then Eddie and NJ also performed with Chemical X. And that was like I'd known Caleb, because he's famous, and I had known Caleb beforehand, but that was like our first time officially meeting, and it was really fun having another dance crew that was in the community, the dance community as well, that was also performing and cosplaying. So we did a whole Tech, which was great because I'm such a Capricorn. Like to organize things. We were so excited to get Anime Expo, so we're like, everyone has to be there for Tech. Everyone must be there with all of your cosplays and everything, and everyone sat in their seats in the audience where they were assigned, and we're like kids, honor students on a field trip. Everyone was so excited. And then poor Caleb, he has a team of people who are doing so many other things. They're doing other performances, they have other rehearsals. They just couldn't be there for the Tech. So what was great for us to watch is that we got to hype up Caleb, and one of our other dancers, Chanel, had to do their whole 30-minute set, just them on the stage. And it was so much fun because we're like cheering for him and he's trying to do everything. It was intense. Then we did our run through and we're like, okay, we're good for this. And after the run through, before Masquerade started, we released everyone to go get food and to go to the bathroom, freshen up. And me and Sonali sat in the audience, in our seats, our designated seated area. And we just had a talk together. And I remember, to me, despite us doing Attack on Titan, despite us having that amazing performance at UB, and we finally just got an AX, and we're about to do our big performance at AX, that conversation right before the performance was where the core dance crew was born. Because we sat and we had a real talk about it. And I remember saying this to her, and I remember her talking to me, and I remember telling her, I will do this as long as you want to do this. There is no Survey Corps without you and me together. This is ours together. I could never do something of this caliber, of this gargantuan undertaking, without you with me. So as long as you're here, I'm here. We're going to do this. We got this. And we cried and we hugged and we love each other, blah, 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 soulmates. So that was us establishing our determination to build from there on. Then we get to the performance. I loved that performance of Attack on Titan. I had performed in front of large crowds before, and so had so many people on the team. They had performed for large crowds. But being on that stage and looking at the main events hall of Anime Expo and all those people who are like-minded like us, who are nerds and weebs and otakus and who know Attack on Titan as much as we do, who know anime as much as we do. I know that there was someone in the audience who obsessed over Dragon Ball Z just like I did, and they're sitting there and they know what it feels like to love something so much that you just kind of explode with it and you want to give something to it. And so we did this performance, and that was an amazing experience to be up there with that. So many things happened during that performance. One was Andrew, he was our Shadis. He did all the speaking roles. He was also the Eren Yeager's dad. Andrew just was, okay, so two of our dancers, Andrew and Thomas, had injuries beforehand, and they couldn't dance. They couldn't really do a lot of the dancing, so we had them kind of be the actors. Andrew was great. Andrew actually later on, the next year following, would be the voice of Levi. He was just so great, and I remember he came on stage to do that whole bit. There's an in-between bit based off of the annotated parody of Attack on Titan Online, and he's talking about the Titans coming in, and we all stop. It's after the whacking piece, and we stop and we look at him, and I remember looking at him going, why why do you look so hit? He doesn't have his jacket on. He's just wearing like a tank top. His pants are barely on. His harness is just like hanging off his shoulder. He looks hit. He's kind of naked. And all of us are looking like, what happened? It was because he was trying to do his costume changes from Grisha Jaeger into Shadis, and he didn't quite make it. I remember just thinking, what is going on? So that was something. But there's one part of that set that the team knows, Soulmate knows, and Nifa knows. I cannot watch because it is not because anyone did anything wrong. It is because we did wrong on someone else. And we did wrong to Thomas. Because Thomas is a stunt man. And I think before that he had suffered an injury where his whole body was bruised. He had gotten in an accident. Thankfully, he was okay. We were so happy that he was okay. But he couldn't dance because his body was still healing, of course. And of course, we're like, oh my gosh, no, we're not going to make you dance. But he still wanted to be at AX. He still wanted, to get the experience. He's like, I still want to be on stage. So we said, okay, well, he's like our buff stunt guy. He's like so cut and everything. And he had long black hair. So we thought, okay, you're going to be Titan Aaron. So in Turn Down for What, when Adam bites his thumb, he's going to transform and you're going to come out and you're going to be Titan Aaron. Now, here's the thing. We didn't do him any justice because we didn't even attempt to make him look like a Titan. We didn't do special makeup to give him the mouth on the side. We didn't give him contour for his body. We just had him wear nude shorts, those nude shorts biker shorts that you wear at Disney as undergarment. He just put that on so he looked like a Ken doll, and we just put a naked man on stage. That's it. He's not even Titan size. He's the same size as all of us. He's shorter than both Toby and Shishi, and Eddie. He's not as tall as them, so he's not even a Titan. He's just a naked man. The end of Turn Down for What happens. Adam disappears. Thomas breaks out, and then there's like this, it's like slow-mo. We're supposed to be slow-mo running away from Thomas. Here's the thing, that stage didn't have wings. It just had stairs on the back of the stage, and along the sides is just a railing. So if you're off stage on the sides, like where the front and side wings would be, you're just on stage, holding onto a rail. So we're like, people are slow motion running, oh my gosh, from Thomas. And then just like awkwardly hugging the rail, so just exposed. And then Thomas is just trying to be a Titan, but he's not a Titan. He doesn't look anything like a Titan. He's just a naked man running around stage. He looks around. He sees Misa. He looks at Shishi. He looks at Toby. He goes, no, not them. He sees Misa, a girl, and he just slow motion kicks her over. And I fast forward that section all the time because I can't. I laugh so hard because I'm like, why did we do you dirty like that? Why did we just not even try? Props to Thomas for doing that. He looked great, but we did not help him. He looked great on his own. We did nothing to help him look great. So that is my one regrets from that set. And then, of course, right after that piece, we go into the infamous Talk Dirty Levi piece. And what's funny is that this is a 30-minute set, you guys. We have not had a moment to rest. And for Talk Dirty, we're all going to take off our jackets and do Talk Dirty, not wearing our cervicore jackets. But we're so sweaty. So if you see that part, everyone comes on, and I'm like, oh, no. Everyone just sweat stains all over their clothes. Oh, it's a mess. But it's okay because Rostin killed Talk Dirty. He messed up because his bandana thing came off and he couldn't fit it in his pocket, but that's okay. He's cute. We love him. He knows how to grind with a broom. He was really excited about that broom. He was really good with it. And Talk Dirty happened, and then we went into Closer, and we ended that set, and that was our first performance at Anime Expo, and it was the beginning of something amazing, because me and Sonali we have moved out of the collegiate world. We have gone into cosplay. We have done our namesake its justice, to an extent, of performing Attack on Titan, all of Season 1, on stage. we were at the Masquerade halftime of AX 2014. And when we left that convention, I remember leaving the lobby, and the lobby was empty. And I was walking with my bro TP, my forever bro TP, Liz. And so it's just Hanji and Armin, the nerds of the core. And for some reason, at the top of our lungs, we're singing Why You Gotta Be So Rude. We're singing that song. It is forever our song, because I don't know why we're singing it. But we were so hyped and so excited after that performance that's how we left. And that was the beginning of the epic journey that would turn into what core is today. And that's actually where I'm going to stop for today. We just ended our very first AX. And so next week, Wednesday at 6 p.m., come back here and I will start off where we finish off the year 2014 and we go into the year 2015, which is really the indicative year. It is the iconic year where we manifested the trilogy before it was a trilogy, where Beyond the Northern Wall was created. So next week we're going to go into that. We're going to go into the rest of our collegiate performances on into Beyond the Northern Wall. And yeah, it's going to be so much fun. So that is the first episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had so much fun. I am sweating bullets because raisins. But thank you guys for joining me here today at this time. We'll see you next week. And please, if you haven't been following All Day Today, Justine Armina Ashido from our Plus Ultra set has been taking over the core's Instagram. So make sure you check out. She's been answering your questions all day. Make sure it's 7 p.m. You can get in more questions for her to answer. Really great. From here on out, we will be having more takeovers with the rest of our corpsmen. We will have more content on this YouTube channel. And if you haven't yet, please check out our website. It is www.thecoredancecrew, CORPS, thecoredancecrew.com. We are currently doing our promo for our logo hats. I don't know where the hat is that I have, but we are doing a pre-order for our logo hats, which is a collaboration with Arsenic and Cyanide, which is our collaborators. So check them out too and put those orders in because that hat is bomb.com. Other than that, the rest of our merchandise is on our website. You can check it out at our shop. And if you're excited and you want to contribute more or have more access to behind the scenes content that I can't give you here, you can be a patron on our Patreon. Our patrons get special tutorials every month. You can go from $2 all the way up to $10. You get special access to things beforehand. And this month, they actually get access to a special alumni video. So those will come out in the future as well. So make sure you guys, if you can, we appreciate any contributions at all. If you can be a patron, just join us on Patreon. With that being said, I am your Buntaicho, finishing off episode 1 of Beyond the Northern Wall. What we like to say is we put our hands out. We say sorumeto. Sorumeto is soulmate in Japanese. This is in the kanji. So sorumeto is soulmate. And that's, now that you know the history of being soulmate, you know why we call that out. So we say sorumeto on 3. We count 1, 2, 3. You hit your chest with a salute right over your heart because you offer that heart up to humanity. And you yell sorumeto. So I do that with you now. Hands out. Sorumeto on 3. 1, 2, 3. Sorumeto. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.